Okay, so I hope you can all see my screen. Is it already sharing?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So welcome everybody. Today we're gonna talk about planning for financial freedom. Just because this is being recorded as well, I want to make a disclaimer that this is not financial advice. I am not a legal financial planner, but I do love talking about it. So please do by your own heart what you want to do, and don't take what I say for granted. Just figure it out for yourself, and we can all discuss it here today, and hopefully learn from each other. I think that's my main goal anyway for being here, to learn from you, and hopefully we can do that by sharing our own each another's stories. An overview what I would like to discuss today, but it's very fluid. I like discussing with you and being it's a two-way street so that we can discuss with each other. That's how this hour has been set up as well. I would love to start with some introductions, touch upon the subject of what is financial freedom, maybe the benefits of some financial planning, some common mistakes which are often made. I did some cherry picking there, what I think is important. Setting the goals, and that's something we're going to discuss in the breakout room. And of course, also talk a little bit of how much you would need to achieve those goals, and understanding your current position, and hopefully end it with a group discussion. And that's it for today. But first, I would like to start with introductions. I know we already had some other meetings where everybody shared a little bit of the background. So today we can do it a little bit different, more in the style of today's meeting. So just your name or your nickname, whatever you want, and then why are you here? Because I love when Ryan talks about the why, so I had to put it in there. So why are you here today in this workshop specifically? And what does financial freedom mean for you? And I'm just gonna go around, and is there anyone who would like to start?
Sure, I'll go.
Perfect.
My name's Eddie. I'm here because I'm concerned about the future of, my family, and financial freedom for me would mean that I would have enough to create some sort of account for the future after I'm gone, because I have a mentally disabled child who's going to need help for the rest of his life, and I'm not going to be here for that. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. Anyone want to go next? Pete, why don't you go?
Hey, my name is Peter, and I'm here because of all you awesome people, and it's pretty cool to say my Dutch banker. Got this Dutch banker guy, so that's why I'm here. You got to participate. You can't say that unless you go to the classes, right? So I'm here to learn, and I think financial freedom for me is being able to show up to work or not on Tuesday. That's a personal choice. It's not a forced thing. So for me, that's financial freedom. If you can show up or not, and if you want to participate, you can. And if not, it's not the end of the world, and that kind of thing. So for me, that's it. So thanks for being here, everyone.
Okay. Leah, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. My name is Leah. I'm here because, one, community, two, because I've learned so much about crypto just by being in fields of learning. So I'm just here to absorb. Technically, I'm financially free by most definitions, but financial freedom for me means letting my money make all the money that I spend.
Okay. Jorge, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, that's right. Hi. So I just recently joined this group, I think about a week ago. And I found Cello's, I've gone through his videos through those classes with charting and trading. And I found them extremely useful. And so I like this community. I like this community. I feel like I'm getting a lot out of it. And so that's, I think, why I'm here. Financial freedom for me means, I think being able to do what I'm currently doing and not have to go to work, I think. So it doesn't mean buying more things. It just means being able to function in my current situation without having to go to work. So I think that's what it means to me.
Okay, thank you for sharing it, and welcome to the community.
Yeah, thank you.
Cello, that's a nice bridge to you. So if you could go next.
Okay, so I'm Cello. I'm here because I like to steal people's backgrounds in Zoom. And like financial freedom to me, I think is being able to do the things I like and not necessarily like stop working, because I honestly would like to work as a teacher, whether I have to for money or I don't. So financial freedom to me would be not having to worry about working, but not necessarily not working itself.
Okay. Ryan, you're already not muted, so why not?
Yeah, I'm Ryan. I am here because this is a topic that I want to learn more about. I tend to lily pad between opportunities without really maybe saving or being financially responsible in a lot of ways. I put a lot of time into my last company expecting that to be my big kind of nest egg exit, and it didn't turn out that way. So I am interested also in the financial freedom because, like most of you, I would like to set an intention in the world and be able to move towards it without having to grind to make it possible. So I appreciate you taking the time to share your knowledge with us.
Okay, great. Vincent?
Yeah, hi, I'm Vincent. First of all, I just want to say Cello says he likes to steal backgrounds, but secretly I just keep him tied up in my my den trading on my computer for me. So, but no, the reason I'm here is I really appreciate this community, and I love to be here to participate and support. Financial freedom for me is something I've spent a lot of time like working on, and it's a felt sense. It's a true knowing that there's always going to be enough to do the next thing that you want to do, as well as the thing that you're currently doing. So
Okay, great, thank you. Maybe I will not pronounce it right, but Kichi. And if I pronounce it wrong, please correct me. Or you just left. Okay, the timing was perfect. Jesse, would you like to go next?
Hey, sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. We can.
Okay. I want to be able to crash sailboats into coral reefs and kill lobsters is what I want to do, and that's financial freedom to me. No, I'm just kidding. Financial freedom is not having to be a slave to a 40-hour work week at a corporation and report to a boss, and to be able to live off passive income, I think like someone else said, and to just to be able to help people without having to worry about, the stress of money. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Sounds great. Kichi, your turn.
Ooh. Okay. My name's Kichai. Real name's Brad. I'm here to learn. What financial freedom means to me is it's sort of a lost, forbidden dream because I'm already so far into my life, and I never had the opportunities to or the knowledge, guidance to prepare for my retirement, so to speak. And so now I'm just kind of in desperate straits. I've got what I got, trying to make the most of it that I can. I have to be conservative because I don't have a chance to rewrite this story. I'm at the nearly 70 years old. So I've got I got Ethereum and Bitcoin, and I was looking at Celsius. they say they'll give me about 8%. Of course, it changes from week to week. There's been some talk about people losing their wallets lately, and those things have me worried, but I feel like this is a fairly legitimate organization. People may have other suggestions for me. I don't know, but anyway, I'll pass it back to you.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I think that was the main point of also doing it in this way. I thank you all for being here. I think that it does mean something else for everyone, and everyone is also in a different stage in their life, right? So that also has an impact, and then everyone has now a different net worth or a different income or no income at all. So that's it does differentiate from person to person, and I think that's everyone has to define for themselves what financial freedom means for them. You can look at internet and find all kinds of quotes. And for some people it means not having to work, but they want to work. For some people, just having enough passive income to pay for what they own. And some people have very specific dreams or wishes, like Eddie mentioned, for instance. So I think that's good. So the reason why I'm here, I work at a bank, as has been shared. So and I when I was young, I didn't know a lot about financials. Maybe some of you have the same experience, but later in life I did find out it was so important, and it's very basic and central to everyone's life, even if we don't want to. Having money and being smart about it or not being smart at all. And I've seen like good friends of mine make a lot of money and then spend it all in a casino and all of that kind of things. And also, so that made me want to work at a bank, because where can I else learn some finance? It's better to work at a bank. So, and now here I am 6 years later, still working for the same bank. But who knows? Maybe some DeFi plays will make sure I don't have a job more in the future. So let's see how that goes. So that's why I am here. What financial freedom means for me is also not having to work for money, but I might still want to do that. So just having the freedom of mind to do what I want to do best and focus on the things I love, which is not always work. So that's my point of view. So I'm going to touch upon briefly the benefits of financial planning, but I don't want to spend too much time, because hearing all of your stories, you already grasp the concept of why it is important. And that's also basically, I think, why you joined this meeting, because you already think this is important. And that's why you spend your valuable time here. And some of you grasp also upon that they want, what I heard is more a little bit more self-awareness of where they are. Yeah? They're living through life, and you're saving money, or you're making a lot of money, and maybe you have some crypto gains as well. But where are you working towards? So that's what financial planning can definitely help you in some reality check, some self-awareness. Where am I? And if I have something I want to spend or save for, or invest for in the future, how do I get there? And do I know how to get there? And it all starts with planning, right? And that's so here are some of the things that you can see them on the slide. Very, very basic. Like it just gives you an insight in the roadmap to your future and how you can get there, and if you can get there, because sometimes the goal you want to set might not be realistic at all. So it also gives you a mirror. So what I like this picture a lot. It shows it can give you a roadmap of where you want to be, and these are some of the things you have to think about when we're discussing financial planning. It's like your home, or where you live. What are your expenses there? What kind of lifestyle do you have? Insurance. I'm in the EU, in the Netherlands, so that's a little bit different. For instance, medical insurance, that's relatively cheap here, and it's mandatory. So that's very different from the people here who are in the States. But insurance is important because if you don't, you have certain risks which can happen, which can give you a big expense in your life, and it might interfere with your whole financial planning if you don't mitigate those risks. So that's also something to think about. And some people don't want to mitigate those risks, and they don't want insurance, but that's fine. just make sure you are aware of that and you know which risks are there. And of course, saving stock. Of course, they didn't put yield farming in there yet, but maybe they will in the future. And then the lifestyle. And lifestyle is important. And we'll touch upon that later as well. I briefly wanted to touch upon some common mistakes. Having no financial plan at all. So a lot of people just live their life, spend day by day, and they don't plan for retirement. And when they go near it, and then they figure out, oh, I don't have enough money to retire. And then maybe if you live in a country where there is no retirement plan or no government supported benefits, then you have a real problem. And that leads into the case that people working until they're 80 or 90 just to make means, right? Not knowing how much you need to retire or to be financially free. It's a difficult calculation, and not knowing how much. So a lot of people also make mistakes in that calculation. You have to factor in inflation. You have to factor in your lifestyle and the lifestyle you want to live, the expenses you want to do, because you can cut a lot of expenses. But do you really want that? That's some questions you have to ask yourself. Starting your retirement planning too late, procrastination. A lot of people live their 20s, 30s, and 40s not making the plan, or not being taught these finances, right? Not having the information available, as Kichai also pointed out. Not everybody gets the same school or education. Also coming with avoiding risk, especially when you're maybe in a position where you could take some risk, but also taking too much risk and not knowing you're taking that much risk, which is maybe more obvious in the crypto space than avoiding the risk part is. Not fixing bad debt. Not all debt is bad. And maybe one question here also for everyone here: does everybody know what bad debt means? Okay, so at least one know. So you can have basically, if you have debt which is fixed, pointed towards an asset you own, whether and that asset could be your home where you're living in, then that could be worth it. But if you're taking on debt for expenses, which for things you don't really need, that would be considered in financial planning, at least by me, as taking on bad debt, because you don't really need this item and you're taking on debt with the interest, which reduces the amount of money you have available now and in the future. And of course, that interest, if you don't repay it, is going to compound as well. Not to speak of if you also have high interest bad debt loans. That's of course the worst case scenario. And maybe if some of you do have some of those where you have a lot of loans outstanding, which are in high interest rates, that we're not going to touch upon that topic today. But that could also be a major thing for you to address, which is part of step 2 or 3, where you assess your current situation. But sure, we'll talk about within the slides. And also giving up hope because you think you started late. It's never too late to start planning. So Kichai and others, thank you for being here. It's never too late. It's always good to learn and to plan, and you can always learn and do something within your means. At least that's what I believe. Okay, so there are a lot of frameworks, a lot of financial planning frameworks on the internet you can find. You can Google. Maybe you've heard of FIRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early, or all these things. But I like this one, which is plain cut and simple, and which is very important. A lot of these start at looking at your current situation, but I like where it starts at your defining your own goals and your desired lifestyle, really starting from that point. And so that's step 1. And there are more steps further, like determining how much money you need and understanding your position. We will not cover all steps today. Unfortunately, we don't have the time, but we'll start, I think, with the most important ones. And what I would like to start with now actually is defining your goals and desired lifestyle. And some of you already shared that, but what I would like to do is that we will go out maybe in groups of 3, where we try to make that more specific, because it's nice to state what financially freedom is for yourself, being financially free or financial freedom. But to make it in order to plan for it, it's also important to make sure that you make it specific. And I just put it very plain and simple, SMART. I don't know if you've heard of it. I've been thrown to death with it in my uni years, but that's what I would like to start with. Just because, so we're going to do a breakout session. I would suggest we take 10 minutes and we discuss in groups of 3 what your goals are, and also look at your desired lifestyle and make it specific and measurable and acceptable and realistic and measured by time. That's clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Michelle, could you help me with setting up the group?
When we go into the breakout rooms, we're going to lose the main presentation slide, right? So everyone should maybe screenshot it or maybe paste it in the chat.
I can paste it in the chat. Let me make it easy.
Cool.
Thanks.
Shelly, you got the breakout group buttons going there, buddy? There you go. Sweet.
Hey, Cello.
Hey, I got in a group with the pro.
I don't know if Nizar is here. I asked and there was no reply.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear us, Nizar? Life is like a book. No matter how many smiles and tears there are, it's always got to end. Pretty deep. Okay.
That's confronting.
Yeah, I don't think he's with us. Maybe.
Okay, yeah. Otherwise, Nizar, you're on mute or your audio is not working. But anyway, let's go. Yeah, what the difficult thing, Cello, with that there are a lot of people and it's 1 hour, so it's very short. So that's what difficult part is. Anyway, maybe we can. So you said your goal was to be financially, not to have to work, right?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't like, for example, to go without working for a year, you know. So for me, financial freedom wouldn't be like having money, for example, to perpetually, you know, just sustain my expenses, but maybe, you know, have enough money to spend maybe a year and a half without having to work if I need to. Because like,
Yeah, that makes.
I really do not see myself not working until I am maybe 70 or something like that, because I really love teaching and I don't think that's going to change.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, I also love my work and not all parts of it. So maybe in the future I would switch and focus more on the things I want, even if the pay is less. So my lifestyle could be the same, and I would accept a lower pay, just because it's more in line with what I love to do. Okay, Nizar, you can hear us. Yeah, is your audio working, or hop in the conversation anytime you want? So to Chela, so what would so I think it's quite specific. Only thing is like what kind of, then it's more like, okay, yeah. So so maybe by what time would you want to achieve that? Because maybe if it's your goal, then I'm just guessing that it's not currently you're not financially free yet.
Yeah, I mean, the only real work I do is here in the crypto garden, and I mean, I still live with my parents, so.
Well, that's at least you're cutting your expenses. So I don't see that as a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, okay, so Nizar says his microphone is not working. It's okay. I think if you type, we can just talk about it too.
Yeah, if you want to share your goal in the chat, then please go ahead.
Yeah, like
so yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't know like exactly what my time frame would be, or even right now how I would calculate the expenses, right? Because for example, I mean, I'm living with my parents, but I obviously won't live with my parents my whole life, right? So I don't even know
Yeah,
how I.
Yeah, but you could put in. Well, what you could do is then like, but maybe what you should do is to get it like a target, right? You could look at statistics. So what is the average household spend? So if you say to Jello that okay, in the future you might want a family, you might want a loved one, and you might want children. So you could look at the average household spend, right, and put it in as a target you would want to have in 10 years to have as well. Maybe for you, your goal would be just to have enough for 1 year, and then after that year you would work again, or more, or it should be perpetual, and then yeah, so then you can play around with those numbers. Those numbers are out there for every country. They do a lot of research, so I'm sure you can find that for any country you want to live in or live in now.
Yeah, it would be nice to search those things up. I'm really getting some thoughts right here right now, because like when I was a small kid, when I was like 10 or something, a mathematics like school work was to do like a home budget or something like that, and I went pretty in depth. It was literally the first time I created a spreadsheet, so I have some experience there. And yeah, looking at it now, it seems like an interesting project to just do the math and kind of
Well, I
figure
think
out.
for a guy like you with the numbers, it would be quite easy for you to do it. It would literally take like an hour or two to figure it out completely, and that's maybe even stretching the time. What works for me is if I to do put it, because it just gives you focus, and it gives you, I don't know, some goal. And for me, the goal is really I would like to work but not have to, so which basically means I want to be able to retire, right? So basically I just want a retirement amount, and that being perpetual. And for my calculations, I do believe inflation might stay high, at least in the Netherlands, but also EU, and also everywhere around the world actually. So but if you do the calculations for, let's say currently my expenses are $30,000 a year. If you calculate what that will be in 20 years, if you use 5% as inflation, that amount is batshit crazy. It doubles. I mean, it more than doubles. It becomes like 80,000 or something. So that will be my expenses to have the same kind of lifestyle which I currently have. So
Yeah.
to invest, to meet that with investment, or it's quite hard. And I'm not sure if we're going to talk about it today. I have it in the slides, but it's like FIRE. Have you heard of FIRE?
No.
It's a whole movement, financially independent, retire early movement, and they're going a little bit extreme with cutting all costs when they're young, in order to be financially independent or retire at the age of 40 or 35 or whatever. But even the calculations they use, it's a 4% rule, but it's wrong now, because everything is getting more expensive way more quickly than
In
ever was
Brazil,
anticipated.
like inflation is crazy. Like every single thing in the supermarket at least doubled in price since like 2020.
Brazil is a little bit tough place now as well.
For example, cooking oil, I think before the pandemic was like 4 real, and now it's like 12. And like the minimum wage stays the same and all of that. Yeah, pretty rough. So if I was to input, I think it would be something closer to 8 or 9%.
Yeah, but if that's also the beauty of playing for long. Hopefully it will not stay that way forever. And at least when if you're investing in currency or fiat or crypto, which are outside of your own own fiat, at least that sets off the
Yeah, like just in
yeah.
the dollar conversion, I made like 10% just this year. So
Yeah, and
that
that
kind of
sounds
outweighs my
great.
losses, right?
Yeah, exactly. It negates your loss, but it's not. There's no profit because it's still
Yeah.
more expensive than it
Yeah,
was. That's
exactly.
crazy. Yeah. So yeah, for me, I'm trying to figure out at the age of 40 or 45, which is 10 to 15 years, if that's a realistic goal for me. And it will depend on what crypto does. And if we do have a bull run, and there is a moment where if I just take a chunk out of it, maybe half, and put it in some stable coins or some safer place, and not being USDT, then now I'm gonna do that, because that's then it's time for me to risk off. So that's also a very important thing. Maybe we'll touch upon that later. It's like the amount of risks you're willing to take. I can take a lot of risks because I have a good job, good paying job, and a high salary. And so if I lose everything or a lot of it, then I can still make it back. Okay, so I think the time is up. So we're gonna close the break rooms and go back.
Okay, yeah. Let's close. And
so hi guys, how was that? Anybody want to share the conversations they had and maybe something they learned or what they discussed?
Bye, Jorge.
I'll go ahead. I think one thing that just kind of throws a monkey wrench into things that I don't really have to deal with is the whole kids. So and to each his own, and that's just one thing to think about. That's like, my buddy Jesse's got a beautiful family and that kind of stuff, and that just like it's not just you, right? I can be extremely selfish in my financial planning with me and my wife, and then you throw the kids in there, and then that just the longevity of that, and are you going to pay for their school and all that other stuff, and wow, that's a lot of it. It's a lot different, ton of bricks. So good luck with
so
that.
your revelation was just harshing on my reality. Love it.
Yeah, just how easier it is for me,
I'm glad that you learned that in this class.
That's gratitude right there.
Yeah,
Gratitude.
the smug look of gratitude.
Yeah.
That's a good way of cutting expenses. Expenses, just not in doing the whole game of having children or whatever.
For sure. I make up with it in dog food though. I have 4 dogs over 100 pounds, so we make it for a little bit.
Yeah, that's comparable, Pete.
What colleges are they going to? Are they going to stay
exactly.
in the country?
Exactly. I'll let somebody else go.
Yeah. Anybody else want to share?
I learned that I shouldn't consider when calculating that I'm gonna live with my parents forever.
I guess that depends.
Well, in some cultures, that's more than acceptable.
No, it's not. That's a myth. They want you to leave, bud.
Okay, so I think that's always valuable to discuss that with each other. Some nice background noise. No, but that's and what I also learned from hearing this, like there are so many things we could discuss now, and time flies by. So at the end of this workshop, we're also gonna maybe discuss a little bit. So okay, what's next? Because we only have this hour, and if we're gonna touch upon all those topics I would like, then we need a couple more days. So I think that's good. So when my discussion with Tichello, we also touched upon like that is difficult to put in writing or to determine specifically what you need or what you want and when, and maybe more so if it's far away or maybe not. That's so I think that it will be a very healthy exercise, and we're not going to do it in this workshop for everyone who wants to, what I would urge anyone to do it is to try to determine how much money you need for financial freedom. And I'll show you a calculator which does that in a very simple way, but you have to know your current expenses. And for a lot of people, they don't even know what they spend their money on. It just flies out of the bank account once the salary hits. And so there will be, for some people, that might be a little bit easier than for others. But also maybe for Ticello, for instance, currently he doesn't have a lot of expenses in regards to his rent, or maybe he does pay rent, I'm not sure. But you might need to extrapolate, okay, if in 10 years I do have a family and children, how much am I gonna spend? And what are my expenses gonna be? And where can I get that data? So for everyone, you need to figure out what money you need for financial freedom, but you also have to think about the lifestyle you want at that point, right? So you might want children or adopt more dogs or whatever. So that's important concept to grasp. And those numbers are out there, so you can look it up for every country. They have the data, the statistics, those are out there. And if you need help, I'm more than happy to help. So step 3, I think understanding your current situation is that for a lot of people, they also don't know how much debt they have. I don't know if some of you have a lot of credit cards or whatever, then it's good to get a hold on of how much debt you do have and how much you're paying towards those as well. So it's in understanding your current situation. And then that will be step 3, is just determining your net worth. Look, how much am I worth today? If I put the assets minus debts, and what is my cash flow in and out? And so so you're looking at your expenses as well. So step 4 would be like understanding your current path and the risks you're taking, because that's a little bit of the part where you want to make sure that what you're doing is that you're doing it with focus, so that you're knowing how much am I spending where, and that you're gonna try to have a budget and work on it. And then what I often find out is if I have a budget, then I make a budget, and then the next month I review it, and I wasn't able to uphold myself to that budget. And then there's also a lot of psychological reasons of why, and maybe when we are making the budget or planning, we're too positive in making that. So there are some things in the elements in there which you will have to do yourself, and I think that will be a healthy exercise for everyone to do. But what we did find is a helpful tool to do some calculations, and I'll show you that now in the link. I think it was already shared by Ticello in this chat, but I think later we'll put it in the Discord as well. And I think you can see my screen, and can you see the Excel sheet?
No.
No.
Nope, so I have to share in a different way. Okay, give me one moment. There we go. Can you see it now?
Hey.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey.
So
Sorry. The cat's attacking the dog. Sorry, as you were.
okay, that's right. So what is, okay, let me just explain the sheet, and maybe later you can play around it with your for yourself. So basically what is, you can put in your current age, and let's say I'm 42, and you can put in your annual income, and you can put in also the inflation rate you think which is going to happen, and this is a debatable thing. So some people, their official numbers are not already high, so I just put it at 2.5, but I think it's a lot higher unfortunately in the recent times. So let's say it's 4, and that's an whole other debate. And here you can put in the amount of savings you currently have. So let's say I'm 42, and I was fortunate enough to already save $30,000. And I think each year I'm spending 50,000, and I'm able to save 15,000. That's my savings. So I can save quite a lot, and my salary does increase. So my salary increases every year with 3%, and I think 2% will go towards saving. You can also put 0 just to make it easier. And I'm gonna invest the savings that I have. I'm gonna invest them in different assets, but I think maybe some equity, maybe some stablecoin, maybe some crypto. Definitely not bonds. And then you can put in what you think is going to be the percentage return. And that could be 10%, that could be 5%. And you can play around with this. And then basically what it will show you is that currently you have a balance of 30,000, which I put in. And then next year you'll have a balance of 48,000. And you'll see the balance grow if this investment return is correct. And what you then can put in is your desired retirement age. So let's say I want to retire at 60 and I want to retire, well, I'm going to become 90. So I want to have 30 years of retirement. That's what I want to see in the planner at least. And when I retire, I'm going to risk off. That's a big thing. I'm going to take less risk in my investments because I need the money. And I don't want to do DGM farming anymore. So I'm going to go more into more stable coins. So it will not be 10%, but it will be 5%. Actually, I think I'm going to up this to 15% because I hope Bitcoin will do better in my case, because I put everything in Bitcoin. So what you could do is then, okay, then see what is your income replacement you need. So I don't need the 50,000 to live. So I only need an X amount of that because currently I'm also only using 35. So let's say I need 60% of that 50,000 to live. And the reason why you have to put it in like this is because it's going to calculate with the inflation rate you put in. Because that's the big mistake people made, which I mentioned earlier, is that not taking inflation into effect also for your expenses going forward. And especially when the retirement is out 10 years or 20 years ahead, the expenses are going to grow tremendously. And the compounding factor of inflation is really also going to count, as well as it does for your investment. So you're going to see, oh, because of compounding interest, it's going to go up quite quickly. And once I reach the retirement age I put in, which is 60, I'm going to have $1.5 million because of this 15%. And that I think I can get it. But what you also see is now my expenses are not 35%, but at my retirement age, my expenses are going to be 60,000 a year because of inflation. And this is where you can play around a little bit with the numbers and see. You can just use forecasting of official models which show 3% inflation or 2% inflation. Use whatever numbers you think are legitimate. I'm not going to go into discussion. We can do that another time. And you can play around. Some people might have pension benefits. So if you have at your retirement age pension benefits, you can also put them in here. And you can also, what I will also like to do is put in uncertainty. So I put in 5%. So I'm going to put in some uncertainty because I'm not sure I'm going to reach that 15%. But basically here you can see, and I didn't prepare for this, but basically it says that at the age of 88, I will have no income left. So you see, even though I had 1.5 million when I retired, because of the inflation numbers on my expenses and my de-risking my investments, you're going to see that the month will go actually to only 7,000. So I will not reach 90. Well, maybe for my planning, this is good enough. So this is something you can play around with and try to start planning, but you have to know your annual income currently. And if you have no income, that's also fine. If you just only have your savings balance currently, and you want to see what inflation and investment returns will do if they're a different scenario. So, but let me just put it back and just make it a little bit more complicated. I could also put in 5% in uncertainty in, and this is where you see this curve. If I hit the 5%, meaning I get a 20% on the investment return, you see an exponential return that I will end up with 8 million when I'm 90. But if it goes towards the downside, you see that already at the age of somewhere about 75, I run out of funds. So this, personally for me, they would not be good enough, because especially when you're in high risk environment in crypto, 15% is very high. I would say, to take for granted at least. So I would personally, I would say, okay, then maybe I would want to work until 62, and I'm not going to say 15,000, but if I say just say 17,000, save a little bit more, and then you see the number going a little bit further, and I still have funds until like 84. And I really like this tool because you can play around with numbers, but you have to do the other steps as well. Like how much do you need? So how much are your expenses currently, or your lifestyle? And you need to know as well what you currently you can save. And that's where I wanted to pause a little bit to see if there are any questions about this tool, if this is helpful or not.
It looks very helpful for a tool. I could use it.
Okay, well, we're going to share it, and I'm sure what I would think is I want to play around with it and see, maybe I have questions later. So then we can just hop in the chat and ask them later. That's in the Crypto Garden. And I'll try to help you out, and we can do a follow up as well, because this is just a lot of ground to cover. And I know, yeah, we cannot touch upon everything here today. And I'll stop sharing this screen.
I have a question, and it's
sure.
pretty open. It's pretty open-ended, but when you're entering into that spreadsheet, there's a lot of different variables. If someone looks at the output and realizes, oh crap, this is not going to work, what do you advise are the best inputs to try and change? Do you see, more investment versus trying to get a bigger salary, or like what are some of the inputs that people have direct control over that you would advise are more advantageous to focus on?
Yeah, so that's where it's very helpful. I'm going to stop sharing just so we can have this conversation. So that is where it's really important to assess your current situation, because for everyone it's different. In my personal life, I know I can do some certain things to increase my earnings at my current job. If I take on more responsibility, I know I can get one within my let's say the pay grade of the function I have. There is one more letter to climb, let's say, in the corporate ladder, which will give me a higher pay. So that's something I could do. On the other side, there are also expenses I can cut, and especially for the investment return, it depends, because I do think if you take higher risk, on the long run it makes sense, right? Because then you can, for me, because I have a high salary, which I touched upon earlier, and compared to my expenses currently, if I lose all my investments, then I would still be fine. But that's why I'm willing to take a high risk. But for other people, that might not be the case. They want to be very conservative. So it really depends. And I would not say just pumping up the investment returns. I think it's better to use historical data as well, because not historical Bitcoin data of the amount of gains, because that will not be useful. But because that's the big uncertainty. I would focus on things which you know for a fact you can change, like cutting your expenses.
Good answer.
Does that make sense for everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, like I said, I think I had many more slides, but time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, I mean, I like always like pictures of paths and choosing, like it's the path you want to take, which fits for you, right? What do you want? Because I like to cut costs. I'm really my partner doesn't always like it, but I like to do it, to cut costs and do cheap. And then we can go to a restaurant, but we can also cook. We could go to amusement park. We can also walk in the forest, which is free. And I enjoy that, actually. It's a little bit of a silly thing maybe, but that's not the same for everyone. And you really have to look at your own lifestyle and what fits for you, what makes you happy, and what fits your family. So that's different for everyone. And there are more aspects to financial planning, which we unfortunately cannot cover today. One question was about estate planning, planning for your children, or to keep something there. But I think the tool can also be helpful there. If you retire and you have this amount of spending, and you have this you're investing in this, which gives a return of an X percentage, then you can calculate at the age, at the certain age, then what will be left, or will you have spent it all, and will there be nothing left for your children? Yeah, and of course, what kind of risks are you? Risk tolerance is also important. I have a large time horizon, I think, because I'm 30. I still have, hopefully anyway, so I can take more risks. Also, what for me is very important, I have a good salary. So even if some of my higher risk strategies don't work out, I still have time to recover. Some people don't have the time to recover and don't want to take that risk. Yeah. So, and basically those were the slides I thought we could cover today, which makes sense because we're nearing the time. And then my question would be, is just for a start in this series, which you might want to do, was this useful?
It was definitely useful. I think it might be interesting if before the next one, if we had like some homework or, give the slides and things ahead of time so that we can go through some of the exercise and come more with like a discussion than trying to do it in the session. I definitely want this presentation if you're willing to share it. And then, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to just keep this group going and we can continue to bounce ideas off each other and refine, based on your guidance. It's a thought anyway.
That's kind of the plan. This was going to be, we knew that we weren't going to fit it all into one night. We were trying to fit it into two, but if we drip into a 3-week thing with this kind of financial plan theme, we can do that over the next couple of times here. But to answer your question, Dan, I thought that was awesome. I mean, I definitely learned a lot, and it's amazing with those spreadsheets. I'm excited to get a hold of those because it's really, those are eye-opening. You can see some numbers like how far behind the 8 ball or how far ahead of the 8 ball you are real quick with just a couple press tab and close your eyes like, so thank you.
Just one quick announcement about the spreadsheet. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it to work with Google Sheets, so you will have to use either the Excel program, or there's also Excel Online, which works very, very similar to Google Sheets, but you need to have a Microsoft account. And yeah, just take that into consideration because Google Sheets is kind of a jerk when you're trying to convert Excel files.
I think that there's a freeware called Libra that will open spreadsheets from Excel.
Yeah, we were able to open it, but it just ruins everything. But thank you for that. Yeah, okay. So I actually like their idea because here because now if we're gonna do the next series with some homework, you guys now know what to expect, so you might be willing to do the work. If we would have asked you in front, maybe we thought we have less people joining, so a little bit less pressure to join or just easy to join. But I think for the next series, definitely, I think we're gonna have a discussion about it later, to see, okay, what could the homework be? Personally, I'm thinking about, well, do the numbers, at least know your current expenses, know your goal, know what time, and make your goals smart, where you're working towards, how much you're gonna need for that at that time. And then we can discuss some strategies of, okay, now you know the trajectory you're on, but you want to change it. So what are some of the things, actually touching upon Ryan's question, what are some of the things, some of the strategies you could do to change that? And maybe that's an interesting way to go forward.
Yeah, and then the third, the kind of the follow through would be to just hammer the leverage the gardens experience with hunting down these passive income avenues. So once we have the numbers, once you know your expenses, once we know the numbers of how much we got to get per month in these returns, now we got to go hunting and find these down. And whether that's in LP farming or whether you throw that into a stable coin and get 10% on crypto.com into these different funnels. So then that's where we can kind of leverage, okay, this is what we need to find, guys. We're in the community, throw that question back out to Discord and the community at large. and then kind of see where people in the crypto side of things are getting the most bang for their buck at different risk levels. Like slamming all of it on Sheeb. Marcelo can probably do that. Kichi probably can't do that right now. It's just facts.
Yeah, I agree. I've been researching those passive incomes a lot, and yeah, it's interesting, and but sometimes you don't grasp the risks. Like some earlier in the crypto garden this week, when someone shared their MetaMask wallet was unfortunately hacked or whatever, and then that's also some of the risk I didn't foresee. Like even if you don't share your phrase, that some of the partners where you link it with could also abuse that system, which was not that obvious for me, which could happen. That could happen. So that's I already knew it, and I'm not using MetaMask because I heard a lot of bad stories about people getting hacked. But yeah, so that's good to protect and help each other as well. Yeah, I think that's good.
Danny, this was really awesome. I feel like I got a lot to think about. I got a lot of information. I got time to connect with people. It was really good use of an hour. So I appreciate all the work you clearly put into this.
No worries. I love doing it.
All right, guys. Well, thanks everybody for showing up. We're going to do a little bit of homework on our end. It's like midnight where Danny's at, so we'll let him get off the phone. Get on to us tomorrow, but thank you guys for showing up. And then, like I said, we'll pass the links out on the Discord to all the pertinent information that we covered, and then we'll be dripping you guys the homework campaign into the next week as well, so you guys can get we can get all aligned, actually do some homework before our next call, and then come a little bit more prepared for next class, and then hopefully have our third class with a more like actionable items where we can go hunting for some of these returns. So.
Awesome.
Thanks, Danny.
Thanks, Danny, Pete.
Thank you,
everybody.
Danny. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Awesome, guys. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.